Hello and welcome to Citizen Radio News at 7 p.m. And this is what is making our headlines this evening. Street protests loom as Raila jets back. Kenya adopts housing tax as William Ruto inks Finance Bill 2023. Activist files case to recruit new TSA boss. Kamau Thuge strikes set on with highest loan rate in 7 years. Kenya's internet bandwidth up 20% on cable upgrade. And Bogable Sebastian Ogier wins 2023 WRC Safari Rally. Gor Mahia's odors path to victory. Welcome to Citizen Radio News. My name is Teresa Moyoka. A fresh wave of anti-government protests looms as Mr. Odinga is expected to jet back into the country from a foreign trip to join his coalition partners for a major rally at Nairobi's historic Kamkunji grounds on Tuesday. The planned consultative rally could mark the resumption of street protests following the passage of punitive tax measures that will add to the already high cost of living. Blessing Maya reports. The talks collapsed after Mr. President William Ruto's Kenya Kwanza rejected opposition demands to suspend the recruitment of Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) commissioners for 30 days, as the reconstitution of the electoral body was part of the recognitions and negotiations following the disputed August 9, 2022 elections. Mr. Odinga was on a week trip to Poland where he attended a roundtable with other opposition leaders. The former Prime Minister was accompanied by Winnie, a member of the East African Legislative Assembly (EALA), who is also the last-born daughter of Mr. President Odinga. Mr. Odinga's spokesman, Dennis Onyango, confirmed that the ODM leader would return on Tuesday. However, President Ruto has since issued a warning to the opposition leaders, saying this government will not allow violence, protest and destruction of properties. In an interview with France 24 in Paris, President Ruto said the opposition should stop entertaining thoughts of unseating him. He said that although the polls were closely contested, Kenya chose him to lead the country for the next few years. President William Ruto has signed into law the controversial Finance Bill 2023 amid plans by the opposition to renewed demonstrations against some revenue-raising measures and a court petition by Busia Senator Okiya Omtata. The inking of the bill on Monday clears the way of the implementation of punitive taxes and levies introduced by the Kenya Kwanza administration. Bramwell Imali has more on this.
They include the standard-rated 16% value-added tax on fuel products and housing tax, which are now set to take effect from July 1, 2023, 2 days before the hearing of the petition filed by Mr. Omtata. The debut revenue-rising plan for Ruto administration seeks to mobilize as much as 289 shillings billion worth of additional tax revenue to finance the administration 3.6 trillion shillings budget for the 2022, 2024 and 2023 financial year. Dr. Ruto's signatures follows Parliament's passage of the bill, which raised VAT on fuel products from 8% to 16% and introduced a 1.5% housing tax on employees' basic salaries, charged on both the employer and the employee. The government targets to collect 83 billion shillings per annum through the introduction of the housing tax. The two key proposals will far-reaching implications on households across the country due to their effect in raising the costs of production and transportation of goods, even as they reduce salaries by adding the reduction to the payslip. An activist has filed a court case seeking the recruitment of new Teachers Service Commission (TSE) Chief Executive Officer, claiming that Nancy Macharia's term lapsed in February this year owing to her age. In his case filed before the High Court, Judge Lawrence Mugambi, an activist, Francis Owino, wants the court to find that Dr. Macharia's stay in helm is against the law as she has legally attained retirement age. According to him, Macharia's term ought to have ended in February this year. Jane Wanja has more on this. However, in the same court document, he claims that Macharia's contract as the TSC boss was extended in July 2020 for another term of 5 years. Macharia took over the commission from Gabriel Lengoibon in 2015 after emerging as the best. Her appointment followed the conclusion of a competitive recruitment process that started on Monday, 1st May 2015, when the position was advertised and attracted 69 applicants, of which 4 were shortlisted. She became the first female CEO of the commission since its inception. In July 2020, the correspondent's tenure was renewed for another term of 5 years, which ought to have been her last term in office. The petitioners aver that the respondent's term expired in February 2023. Stay tuned for more business news, after the break.
Where are you going? I check. On the bus I check. In the class I check. Every hour I check. When I walk I check. I twist I check. I cover I check. I hide I check. Every hour I check. Check that always. Check there's a God. No check. Check there's a God. I study, I sit, I stand. No check. Eight. No check. Eight. No check. Up to 8 hours long. I'm the best in the class. I study, I walk, I play, I dance. No stains, no check. Eight. No check. Eight. No check. Up to 8 hours long.
And on to business news. After 1 week in office, the new Central Bank of Kenya CBK Governor Kamau Thuge called a surprise policy-making meeting on Monday that increased the benchmark lending rate to the highest point in nearly 7 years on heightened fear of a spike in consumer prices. The move, which sets the tone of the new CBK leadership, has ushered a new era of expensive bank loans and will further erode the spending power of Kenyan consumer. Alice Modeo has more. The move, which sets the tone of the new CBK leadership, has ushered in an era of expensive bank loans with other erode spending power of Kenyan consumer. However, higher interest rates mean consumers will spend more in service than their loans. Beside bank borrowers, the higher rates will also hit ordinary consumers in form of more expensive goods on the shelf. Kenya's internet bandwidth increased by 2.4% in the 3 months to June after a major upgrade of the capacity of one of the main fiber optic undersea cables landing in the country, paving the way for faster internet speeds and reliable connectivity. The Communication Authority of Kenya says total international internet bandwidth available in Kenya grew to 14,413 gigabytes per second between January and March, up from 11,970 gigabytes per second in the preceding quarter. Dan Lengrade has more.
The higher bandwidth follows the upgrade of the capacity to the East African Marine System TEAM's fiber optics undersea cables. TEAM is one of the undersea cables landing in Kenya. The total number of international internet bandwidth available in the country grew by 20.4% to 11,413 Gbps. The increase is due to capacity upgrade on the cable by teams during the period. Let's go for a commercial break. I will be back with sports news.
If your walls could talk, what would they say? It's time to unpause. It's time to go play. It's time to turn the online off and turn the offline on. Turn the screen time and pop-ups to real life and what-ups. So don't write that DM. Can't pay that DM. Get out in the PM, come back in the AM. Turn those muted mics into open mics, because what's better than Wi-Fi? A high five. Say bye-bye to work from home and hello to bring your own. You've had your ups and downs. Now jump up, and get down. So if your walls could talk, here's what they say. Stop checking your connection. Start checking your reflection and tell your best friend.
I think my ride's here.
And on to sports news. Unbelievable. I even have a stone on the windscreen. The new Safari Rally Kenya 2023 Championship, Sebastian Ogier of France heaved at the end of the Hell's Gate Wolf Power Station in front of thousands of spectators led by President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua, who gave each finisher a rousing shout on Sunday. Chelsea Edster reports.
The Driver on Unlimited World Rally Championships (WRC) program since announcing his gradual exit from the demanding circuit after winning the 2021 world title to concentrate on his family. He said he didn't know of his future at the end. Frenchman Ogier, driving a Toyota Yaris GR, won the Safari with a 6.7-second advantage over teammate Kalle Rovapera of Finland, the closest Safari Rally victory since 1973 dead heat finish between Kenyans Shekhar Mata and Harry Carleston of Sweden. Owing to a two-season FIFA transfer ban that Gor Mahia was serving when the 2022-2023 Football Kenya Federation Premier League kicked off on November 29 last year, many wrote off K. Ogallo in the title race. World Football Governing Body FIFA barred the freshly minted league champions from making new signings until January this year because the club owed money to former players including Ghanaian midfielder Jackson Owusu and Malian goalkeeper Adam Traore. Bravin Duarte has more. With coach Jonathan M.C. Kinstry forced to operate with a lean squad of 18 players, Tusker and Kenya Police emerged as favourites since they had ballasted their quads with some big names. But K. Ogallo soldiered on with the thin squad March 24 when FIFA lifted the ban. The Ugandan duo of Patrick Kadu and Shafiq Kagimu, the Kenyan trio of Sylvester Owino, Bryson Wangai and Gilbert Otieno, and Rwanda national Emery Basiyenge were brought on board as Gor chased an unprecedented 20th league title. And to end our news, again, these are our headlines. Street protests loom as Raila jets back. Kenya adopts housing tax as William Ruto inks Finance Bill 2023. Activist files case to recruit new TSC boss. Kamau Thuge strikes, sets tone with highest loan rate in 7 years. Kenya's internet bandwidth up 20 PC on cable upgrade. Unbogable Sebastian Ogier wins 2023 WRC Safari Rally. Gor Mahia's others path to glory. Thank you for listening to Radio Citizen News. Have a great evening. I have been your presenter, Teresa Muyuka.